Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a new episode of the Habibis, three game developers drinking good Arab tea. My name is Rami Ismail, your host for this episode.
And I'm Osama Dorias.
And I am Fauzi Mesmar.
Wow, that went well despite us not actually discussing who's going to go in what order.
Yeah, I figured I'd do it
Yeah.
a 1 second rule. I'd pause for a sec, and if I don't hear him unmuting, I'm going to go for it. It worked
Right.
out.
And then if Fauzi had the same rule, it would have been terrible.
It would have been terrible indeed.
This is how we usually do podcasting, in which like we give 1 second pause, then we all speak at the same time.
It works better that way.
We speak over BBs.
I think we found the title for our episode.
Yeah, this is Speak Over BBs. Yeah, this is great.
One day you don't know where we're going from here.
I never know where we're going, which is kind of the beauty of this whole podcast. I think.
Love it.
This is the episode. This is the top 15 Habibi episode titles of all time.
I think so. Which would be a great segue if I wasn't just gonna say that I've missed you two.
I miss you too, Habibi. Miss both of you.
It's been
on the list of the top 15 people I miss. You are number one.
Wow, we made it high.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm gonna get a T-shirt with that.
Yeah, you both share number one.
Yes, we'll share the same T-shirt. We'll get a really big T-shirt.
Yeah, it's very tall and very big. Yeah, that's
very
big. No,
it's
but
a tent, really. It's not a shirt.
It's like a tarp.
The Habibi tent.
I love it. Habib tent. I love it. This word is so versatile.
You can just put pretty much anything in somewhere in the word Habibi and it still works. It's kind of great.
It's perfect. We need to brand with that all over.
I'm not sure I want to, but okay. We could consider it. It'll probably go terrible in some way, shape, or form with some words, but
which is the point, right?
Okay. Fair enough.
Of them. There'll be maybe one or two good ones.
You're right. Yeah.
If you make like 15, maybe.
Perfect. I mean, if I like those odds.
If it's about beach, you can go like Habibis. That totally works.
Habibis.
Oh no, that is so good and awful at the same time. I love it.
I like it. But yeah, no, I'm glad to be back. How have you been? How have things been? How's life been? It's a new year.
Yes,
it's 2023. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Also,
we survived.
To everybody listening, we did survive another year.
Yes.
How was your New Year's? How are things?
Well, my to keep it as brief as possible, my 2022 was a really good one. I rebuilt myself. I'm very public about I suffered a burnout and I left game design for a while to recuperate, and it worked better than expected, faster than expected, and I'm back now in a game design job. I have the urge and the desire to create, and in my spare time I picked up some side projects, which is a thing that would have been unheard of last year, and I'm doing so many things and I'm super happy. So for me, 2022 was a good year of recovery, and I'm very hopeful for 2023 and what it will bring.
I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah,
thank you, Habibis. You're a big part of that, honestly. Speaking to you every week, inshallah, has helped tremendously. I look
it's the
forward
breaks
to
in between that help more, it sounds.
He didn't say that.
No comment. No, I'm kidding. Of course not. That's not true.
Let's see how it is.
What about you, Fauzi?
Yeah, 2022 was a very exciting year for me, especially given that it was like a year when we kind of went back to normal. I mean, like it's. I was thinking about that over New Year's Eve. Like back in March, we were still like lockdowns and stuff, and you can't go anywhere without making sure that you're, like you still maintain like common sense, but like it was, it was still like pandemic days, and it was still in this year, and it's almost hard to remember considering like how closer to normality we are now.
Yeah,
and hopefully we'll stay there.
In Canada, the government is expected to call the pandemic into an endemic now. So,
yes.
That to make it official, it hasn't happened yet, but that's the expectation. And I see a lot of other countries have already, gone that route.
Yeah.
I remain very hopeful that this is a trend because enough people got vaccinated and we're careful
Yeah,
that it's working out.
exactly. So, it makes me happy, like, because I could hang out with friends and family as much as I want
Yeah.
for how long I want, and I can hug people again, which is something I miss.
Yes.
And I got to see you folk in real life, and
That was cool.
That was
we did
amazing.
one of these in real life. That was a highlight for me,
Yeah,
and
You gotta do
same.
that again.
it was really cool for me to, like, to go back into life, because like, I've done a lot of things, even like, professionally, over the past 3 years, but a lot of them I did them while I'm in my sweatpants in my living room. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
like, I
Yeah.
never, like, came face to face with the output of the stuff that I like. Seeing my games on the shelves. Talk to people who played my games. Meeting some of my students that I've never met in real life, especially those shy ones that had their cameras off the whole time.
Right.
So,
Right.
it was like this moment of me going back into life and be greeted back with, like, the stuff that I did virtually, that for a long period of time felt that I was just speaking into the void. It was actually reaching people somewhere, and, like,
Yeah.
getting to see those people in real life has been tremendous. So
Incredible.
2022 was for me like a series of highlights just based off of that alone, if not like for a lot of other things that happened. Big game came out this year. Game did really well. Super proud of it. Yeah. So
Mabruk
all
on that. That's
all
a big
th-
deal.
thank you so much, Habibi. So all set up for like a really cool 2023 to come. So I'm very excited about it.
That sounds super good. Yeah, 2023 is going to be it's going to be an interesting year, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
absolutely.
For me,
Lots happening.
there's a lot of like sort of like growth and like looking forward that I want to be doing in the year. So I'm feeling pretty good about what's
I
coming up.
think
I
also, like,
also
this year for you, Rami, it's a full year with a license. So, like, last year you
I'm
had the
so excited.
license halfway, right? So
Yep.
you
No,
can
I mean
break your air record easily in
I'm
2023.
trying to fly every day of the year so far, but so far the weather has not been good. But
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm already looking at sort of where I want to continue with this, and I've sort of made the decision that I want to see if I can continue to a commercial license, um,
nice.
which means that I would be able to, you know, make money flying. But most importantly, it would mean that I could become a flight instructor.
That's awesome. Wow, what a
Wow.
direction. That's incredible.
So I'm actually kind of excited about that because I love teaching. And, like a lot of people around me have started their aviation journey in the past few months just from watching me do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who sort of like had that dream or had that hope in their life have just sort of like gone at it. Like I talked to two other people that started as sort of like their New Year's resolution
Mhm.
on
Wow.
their aviation story, and it's just so exciting.
Dude, you
Uh,
made me think of it, and I'm terrified of heights.
we should go fly sometime. Yeah, Fauzi. I've flown
Yeah.
Osama already, but like,
Yeah,
Yes, and
yeah.
I've
what?
flown you too, briefly.
That's
And,
true, and
and
you
you
also
only regretted
nosedived
it
it.
a little bit.
And you also nosedived us, which is
Which is
not
part
what
of
I
the fun.
wanted. Yeah, but
It was
one
on
day
my
we.
bucket list. It's done now. Nosedive with Rami.
Oh, nailed it, nailed it.
Nail.
But yeah, we should go fly sometime, Fauzi.
Yeah, yeah. I'm down, man.
Good,
I'm
good.
down.
That said, there's also a lot of 2022 to look back at, and even more so, there's a lot of 2022 to look back at in terms of games, because I think it's time for a yearly recap of the best video games of the year.
What a segue.
The
Like, dude,
Oh, that
Habibis.
was
standing
beautiful.
ovation, like covering my
Absolutely.
hands in butter and just just
And ju-
clapping for
We
this
will
butter segue.
never on this podcast. We will never have a clean transition because we can't not call it out. There will never be just like we're going to talk about this now because we always have to talk about the segue first,
I
and I
love
love
it.
it.
I
I
love
need to acknowledge it. It's so well done.
Yeah,
Perfect.
good.
But you're right, Rami. It is this time of the year.
It is that time of the year, isn't it?
Yes. And how do we do this year? Because last year it was chaos. Do we?
It was really chaos.
Yeah.
Let's aim for organized chaos,
All
and
right.
then get
Yeah.
kind of chaos.
Yep. All right. So
As a
I made a
result.
list. I think all of us made a list of 15 games.
Yes.
Yes.
We're gonna try and get it down to 10, and we have about an hour to do it max.
We got this. I believe in us.
So we're looking
Yes.
at a Google sheet,
Yes.
in which like each one of us has their column. We're gonna put like our 15 games each, I guess, and
Yeah.
then the three of us are gonna discuss which ones make it out of the 15 each of every column. We're gonna see which one of those make it to the Habibis joint column
I
to
think
get the
that's the plan.
Habibis top 10 list.
So we take turns. We each put in and say out loud our top 15 from the bottom up, I assume, so that
Mhm.
we create anticipation, and then we look
Yeah.
at what's in common and have an argument discussion at
Sounds
the end.
sounds really
Sounds
good to
good.
me.
Let's do it.
Who starts? Ram, you're the host. You call it.
I'm يلهوي. So
There's
we're
only
gonna
two
go
options.
from 15 to 1. Shall we just each of us list number 15, and then
Okay.
each of us list number 14, and we'll start with Fauzi, then we'll go Sami, then we'll go me.
Yeah,
All right.
let's do that.
All right,
All right.
Fauzi, you're number 15.
My number 15 is Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights. Okay, I'll do you do the typing. That's okay. You do the typing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the typing. Should I should I say why it's on my list as we're doing it, or should we save that to the fighting afterwards?
You know what? One sentence.
One sentence. It's co-op Batman.
You know
That's
what?
a good sentence.
That's I like that sentence a lot.
My number 15 is Rogue Tower.
Rogue Tower.
It was really addictive.
Okay. I'm gonna be
Can't
the
use that
most.
same sentence for any other game.
True, but this one, that was what it was. It was really fun.
Okay.
I'm very sorry, you guys. My number 15 is Destiny 2: The Witch Queen.
Wow, it's not higher? I'm
It
impressed.
was higher on the list last year, I think.
I know. And for that
Lots of
reason, I'm
good
putting
games.
it a little lower. It was a really good year.
Is
in
this the
terms
one
of
with the
games.
horse?
No, that was last year.
No,
right?
that was last year. That was last
That was
year.
last year.
But no, an incredible evolution on an already incredibly well working game. That's really why I put that on there.
That's pretty cool.
All right, number 14.
Number 14 for me is High on Life.
Oh,
Yeah. My sentence is I like Rick and Morty. I like FPS games. This one's fun.
that's good. Yeah, that works. Totally works.
All right, my number 14 is Dome Keeper.
Oh, Dome Keeper.
Yeah, it's a very interesting mix of action and exploration.
Yeah, it really was.
Mm.
Really was.
It is interesting indeed.
Number 14 for me was Monkey Island.
Oh, yeah. Return to Monkey Island.
There was no way they could live up to expectations, and they lived up to expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Okay, number 13, Fuzzy.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Okay.
I
had forgotten about that, but that is very good.
It's a very good game. Also co-op.
Mm-hmm.
It's Turtles in Time made for the modern gamer.
Yes.
Yep.
Mine is King of Fighters 15.
The first fighting game of our list.
Maybe the last, we'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah, really solid gameplay that you expect from the series, and really enjoyed it.
Amazing. Number 13 for me is Hyper Demon.
What is Hyper Demon? I don't even know this game.
Oh, you don't know the Hyper Demon? Do you remember a few years ago there was this really fast sort of
I remember Hyper Demon.
Demonic first-person shooter?
Yeah,
it was called Devil Daggers.
Yes, I remember Devil Daggers. Yes,
it's the sequel to Devil Daggers.
Oh, I didn't even know this came out. Okay, we gotta check it out.
Very good. But yeah, my one sentence pitch is it's the sequel to Devil Daggers.
Beautiful.
It's a good sentence.
That's it.
My number 12 is Pokemon Legends Arceus.
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 Yep. Okay.
Yeah. It's the open world Pokemon game I dreamed of in my childhood.
Oh,
Yeah.
love it. All right, I'm up. Metal Hellsinger.
Yeah.
A very
So
good
that
choice.
was my number 12. Excellent, simple concept done well.
Yeah. Metal Hellsinger. That was good. I also have a music game at 12.
Ooh.
Trombone Champ,
Oh, I love that game.
which is a joke and a punchline as a video game.
I love it.
That keeps on
Well,
giving.
we don't have any
still funny
duplicates
3
yet.
hours in.
We don't have duplicates yet. No.
Wow,
No,
okay.
like I said, it was a really good year for games.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
But I think we're going to start on duplicates soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And number 11 for me is Atari 50, the anniversary celebration. It's an interactive chronicle of a video game museum, is how I describe it.
Okay. Like it. Mine is Rogue Legacy 2. It's Rogue Legacy 1, but more.
But 2.
It's a lot more. Added
Yeah.
a lot of new classes, a lot of new choices.
Well, I think we're going to start on the first one that is going to get... Oh, no, wait. It's the second one that's going to get duplications because one of the games that's in here I have on my list too.
Okay.
But my number 11 is Elden Ring.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, definitely going to get a duplication on that one.
I would be shocked if not, having listened to you two do these episodes this year.
Your one sentence about Elden Ring.
I mean, there's nobody has ever made anything like it, and I'm not sure anybody will ever do that again.
That's a good sentence to describe it.
Yeah.
My number
Hey,
10.
we're now in the top 10.
Top 10.
Kind of feel
Top
like we
10.
need like background music for this, but okay.
Drum roll.
Yeah.
Drum roll.
Not every time. We literally have like 30 more games that are going to get listed.
That's true.
Let's not start with the drum rolls yet.
Can we have a final countdown but played on trombone chap?
Yeah.
Love it.
My number 10 is Neon White.
Neon White.
It is speed running the game.
Yep.
Love it. Mine is Cult of the Lamb. It's exceptional ludonarrative harmony.
Wow.
You really had to brag on that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
You're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for the full on, just like 100%.
So
Let them know.
articulate.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Just gonna let them know that I also teach game design.
Absolutely.
Oh.
I'm going to be articulate on my next one. I'll show you.
All right, you bring it.
All right, for me, number 10, Metal Hellsinger.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, some duplication.
First duplicate?
Yep, it's
Yep.
the first duplicate. And yeah, no, like Metal Doom.
Yep.
I mean, that shouldn't be possible, but somehow somebody made Doom more metal than Doom.
Yep, and pulled it off. Yeah.
Nice.
Number 9.
My number 9 is Norco.
Okay.
Ooh, such a good game.
Norco is a deep resonance of human condition and sophistication of a sentence in Louisiana.
Oh my god, I can't top that. I'm not even going to
You
try.
can't. No, impossible.
And that was another episode of Habibi.
All right, my number 9 is Horizon Forbidden West. It was beautiful. That's it. Keep it short.
My number 9 was Neon White.
Yay,
Okay.
duplications.
And yeah, no, just speedrunning the game is such a good summary of it.
It is.
it is so smooth for how many complex systems are happening there that just the design on that game must have been really complicated, and I really respect what they pulled off there.
Fair.
That's cool.
Number 8.
Need for Speed Unbound.
Oh, I haven't played that one.
Need for Speed Unbound. It's if you like Burnout Paradise, it's Burnout Paradise with a graffiti, edgy, stylish look,
Yeah,
and police chasing you around.
I
I
like
like
all
it.
of those things. I feel like I should play this.
Yup. All right, and going on top of that one, I have Stacklands
Aw.
Almost made it to my list actually.
with a little pun thrown in there because it's stacked on top of yours. Yeah, Stackland is an accessible, engaging city builder done in a way I never would have imagined possible. Beautiful,
Yep. Yep. Elegant.
elegant, absolutely.
Number 8 for me, God of War Ragnarok,
Ooh, good one.
which, yeah, it was never going to live up to God of War, and it didn't, but it didn't have to.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Number 7.
For me, it's Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Oh, did you finish it?
I got 110 hours in.
So you're almost at the end of the tutorial.
Almost. I still get tutorials sometimes.
Right. God, that game.
I think even after 40 hours, I was still getting like new systems coming
Right.
in.
Right.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's an epic RPG of on every single way you look at it.
Of
Yeah.
epic proportions, right?
Epic proportions.
Yeah, there you go. All right, my number 7 is Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns.
Yeah, it was Marvel's Midnight Suns, I think is a full
Yeah.
title. Late entry, I played it. I'm a huge XCOM fan and a huge Marvel fan, so of course I love this game.
My number 7 might be a little controversial, and it might not even fully count. But for my number 7, I have Wordle.
I think it counts.
Good. It's Wordle.
Yeah. So Wordle is going to be in your top 10 3 years in a row now.
Yeah. Was it in my last year?
I don't remember anymore. Like it was last year was last year.
All right.
Let's move on.
It's definitely in it this year again because like there's been a few tiny tweaks to it. It was obviously bought by a new company, but
Mhm.
it has stayed good, and now I can't like JavaScript source all the possible words anymore, so that helps
Oh,
too.
okay, that works.
Cool.
Number
Belsy.
6.
Number
Number 6
6.
for me is Stray.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a 3D platformer where you're a cat exploring a cyberpunk walled city that is mainly inhabited with robots.
We're gonna have such a hard time turning this into 10 games.
Yeah, this is gonna.
I'm watching this. It's like we're just almost everything is different.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, it'll be fun
We'll
conversation.
figure it out.
We'll figure
My
it out.
number 6 is Overwatch 2.
Ooh.
So they basically have made a huge update, and I'm a big fan of the gameplay changes that they made.
Okay. Do we yeah, you know what? Okay. It's good. Number 6. For me, The Case of the Golden Idol.
Oh,
I haven't played that one. I want
Me either.
You two should absolutely play that because I feel both of you would love this game.
Okay.
You play a detective solving murders in like the 1800s, or solving deaths in the 1800s or the 18th century, whatever you want to call it. And it's really, really, really clever.
Okay. I just added it to my wish list.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I'll buy it this evening.
Yep. It's good.
Nice. Number 5. Rami, I hope you have this one on yours coming up. It's Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
I cannot confirm or
You can't-
deny.
You shouldn't confirm or deny.
Yeah.
I just mentioned that I have hope. You play as Kirby and you can almost swallow a car in this one.
Wow.
I mean, you kind of do swallow.
Not
But
completely.
the wheels are still sticking out.
Right,
of,
yeah, that's true. That's true. This is fair.
All right. My number 5 is TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
Oh,
Ooh.
duplicates.
Yeah.
Duplicate.
And I just realized
Duplicate.
that we both wrote it wrong. It's TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We got
No one needed to know
Teen-
that, Osama.
Oops, I said it out loud. Okay, we'll cut that in post.
I mean, I am absolutely not doing any editing work on this
Yeah,
episode.
no.
This is going live exactly as it is. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Perfect.
Teenage
Yep.
Teenage Ninja Mutant
Mutant
Turtles.
Turtles.
Let's go. My number 5 then, Stacklands, and honestly,
Oh.
nothing to add on top of what Osama said. Just the cleverest little city
Oh,
builder.
nothing
wanna
to add on top. I love it.
You don't want to stack on your
Do you-
comment?
Listen, I had to go for it.
I love it. It's perfect.
Number 4.
Return to Monkey Island.
Oh, another double. Well, we're
Yeah.
starting to see a little bit of overlap.
Yeah.
Good.
It-
It's going to make at least the top 5 easier, hopefully.
I have a feeling that we'll have one game shared between us in the top 3, but I'm not sure yet.
Let's find
Yeah.
out.
We'll see.
Osama.
But the gang is back for one more squashbuckling adventure.
Ooh, love it.
Good sentence. Good sentence.
My number 4 is God of War Ragnarok.
Ooh.
Absolutely love the cinematic combat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They did a really good job. And also you know what? We'll discuss it later. Number 4 for me, Tunic.
Ooh.
Mhm.
A very good mystery adventure game where there's more mystery than you would think.
Hmm.
Number 3.
Top 3. Now we get a drum roll.
Now,
Top three.
I still don't have a drum roll.
Oh, half a drum roll.
Trombone roll. It's Marvel Snap.
Wow, beautiful. Love it.
Marvel
Love it.
Snap. It's one of the best collectible card games I played in a long time.
My number 3 is Vampire Survivors. It was. I did not expect it to hook me so much, but it did.
My number 3 is Vampire Survivors. I did
Wow.
not expect it to hook me so much, but it did.
Okay, déjà vu. Love it.
Number 2.
God of War Ragnarok.
It would have been so funny if you had Vampire Survivors at number 2.
Yeah.
I was just like, part of me was hoping, but
I think it's one of the most cinematic games of the year.
Yes, absolutely. My number 2 is Marvel Snap. One of the best collectible card games I've ever played.
my number 2.
It's so good.
It's so
My
good.
number 2 is Marvel Snap. One of
Wow.
the best collectible card games I've ever played.
Did you guys hear that I made it in the top 100? I ranked super
I
high.
saw.
Yes.
saw.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now
Ooh,
the number
my-
1. Now we get a
one.
drum roll.
Now you get a
please.
drum roll. Now
Drum
you get a
roll.
drum roll. I don't know where a drum roll is, but you have a drum roll.
I hear it. And it is
I
Elden
feel it.
Ring.
Yes.
Elden Ring.
Yes.
Elden Ring is probably one of the best games ever made.
My number 1 is also Elden Ring. It's a masterpiece. Absolutely a masterpiece. I'm playing it for the 3rd time. I shouldn't, but I am.
It's
Rami,
taking away your Marvel Snap time.
right?
My number 1 is one of the only games I could think of where I could go like, that's a better game than Elden Ring. It was a very late entry. It is not entirely fair, but it's Dwarf Fortress.
Oh, wow. Why is that
Oh.
not fair?
Because
think
it's
it's
been
totally
out for like 15 years as well. But the new version obviously has like a graphical interface, and it just makes Dwarf Fortress into something that anybody can play. And
Yes.
honestly, I think something that everybody should play.
I have not played the new one. I'll definitely give it a try. Okay, so we have
Right.
our lists.
We have a list.
We have a bunch of
Very few things in common.
Yeah.
I'm gonna color all the things we have in common real quick.
Yeah, that's a
so
good idea.
we all have Elden Ring.
Yes.
Yep.
So
And we
Elden
all
Ring is
have
on the 3 list.
yeah, and we all have Marvel Snap.
Let me just color. Let me just color the
Yep.
things that all three of us have. Marvel Snap. All three of us have Marvel Snap,
And I think that's it.
and
All
then
3 of us
there's
have God of War.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
yep. God of War Ragnarok is
We have
also.
2 Neon White.
We do have two neon whites, and we
Two
also have
Ninja
Stacklands
Turtles.
twice.
Yeah.
And we have Return to Monkey Island twice as well.
Yeah.
Return to Monkey Island. And Fauzi, I will say Kirby and the Forgotten Land would have totally made it if it wasn't for so many other good games this year.
Yeah, I know, it's wild.
Yeah.
What a year.
I have another list of like
Right.
15 games that could have been
Yeah.
in the top 15
Yeah.
somewhere, right? It's really hard to decide at the end.
All right,
It
let's
was
see.
such a good year for games.
It really was. It didn't feel like it throughout the year. And then you look at the end of the year, you look back and you're like, oh, okay. Good. So
So,
the game,
are these games, are these 10 games?
let me see. Marvel Snap, God of War. So the four games that have 3 votes are Elden Ring, God of War, Marvel Snap, God of War. Sorry, I already have God of War. So there's three
Yeah.
games with three votes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then for the 2 votes, we have Vampire Survivors, Return to Monkey Island,
Uh, Teenage Mutant
Stacklands.
Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles,
Stacklands
Stacklands.
Stacklands,
and Metal
Metal
Hellsinger.
Hellsinger, and Neon White.
Oh, and Neon White. That's right. So that's
Vampires. Oh,
9.
yeah, we have that.
So
We
those
have
are
9.
9. And then we could argue over
9
the
games.
10th one.
Right.
So, yeah, we're fighting over the 10th one.
And maybe over some of the other ones.
And the order of the other ones, right?
Because I think does each of us has like 1 or 2 games in their list where they're like, actually, I really want to make a case for these ones.
Yes. I want to. Yeah, I do have at least one that
Okay,
I think needs to be
for
on our.
both of us, for all of us, we're 20 minutes in approximately. For each of us, pick 2 games that don't make it in this list of 9. The list of 9 is Elden Ring, God of War, Marvel Snap, Vampire Survivors, Return to Monkey Island, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Stacklands, Metal Hellsinger, and Neon White. 2 games from our list, and make an argument.
Okay. I'm going to color
For
code
each of
mine.
those games, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna color them in red.
I did the
Okay.
same.
Oh my god. Like
Just
a
show them.
Habibi from another mother.
Right.
Okay. Let's go. Let's take turns. Fauzi, you go first.
I'm still like, doubting myself, but never mind. The one I'm absolutely, really want to, fight for is Norco.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's because I think I spoke about this on the podcast before, but I want to talk about this more. I've never played anything like this game before. Like it. I think like the closest genre to it is an point and click adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you spend time with it, the more you realize that it's so much more than this. So it's like it's set in a fictionalized version of Norco, which is a city in Louisiana. And the developers geography of robots, which is this is their first game, by the way. They create this surreal tale that starts off as like a detective journalism kind of adventure of this this person looking for their mother,
Mm-hmm.
and then like they untie their personal relationship to this town that is heavily um affected by this like industrial complex, and like a big company kind of like damaging this little town in so many ways. And the more you dig into this multi-layered story, the more you unravel more and more things about the social, political issues that this town is facing, the characters that they're grossing, and then it gets more and more surreal. This game really goes places,
Yeah.
and from a narrative point of view, like the where the story goes is phenomenal. I it's I haven't seen something like this in such a long time. And
Yeah.
them this is their first game. It blows my mind.
That's incredible. I need to
It's
buy it. It's been on my wish list since you recommended it. There are just too many games. I don't have enough time.
Yeah, I
it
bet.
is it is really, really, really good. Like I honestly like Norco would have made it to my list so easily. Um but I just there was so much good. I mean,
Oh.
it was the game that sort of stood as like the antithesis to Trombone Champ for me.
Yeah,
But I think I really needed laughter in 2022.
yeah,
Yeah.
And Trombone Champ was just it was a good joke and a good punchline
yeah.
as a video game, and you just don't see that very often either. But like Norco and Trombone Champ to me both are indicative of something really, really remarkable, which is that they're still just completely new things that we can make in this medium,
Mm.
Mhm.
right? Things where you look at it and you go like, "What? Wow, okay, I
And
guess you can do that."
they make so much with so little.
Yeah,
Like there's no sophisticated sound effects, but the choice of the music, how they use sound effects for like characters talking and stuff like that, it creates such a unique atmosphere.
yeah.
Uh,
I really like how you express that it both gets more grounded but also more surreal. Like
mm,
the place feels more real, but also just the whole thing gets really out of hand.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's such a well picked balance because they could have gone all in,
yeah,
but they hold back just enough that you can suspend your disbelief. And
yeah.
it's just really, really well done.
It's this wild combination of like I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's kind of funny. It's disturbing. It is a bit of both. What should I feel right now? Like it's very rare for like a story that gets to that layers of complexity that can like trot that line so finely as Norco did.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
I find that a very convincing argument, I have
Yeah,
to
me
say.
too. I haven't played the game and it's very convincing. I won't lie.
I will not fight for the other one as hard because like I genuinely think that Norco is one of those games that a lot of people need to try out.
Hmm.
Uh, Atari 50 is the second one that I wanted to speak about. I think just because of how important it is. The Atari 2600 was my first console, and but like the consoles I have a lot more emotional affiliation to are not the Atari consoles. It's the stuff that came afterwards. So the MSX, the Nintendo, the Mega Drive. Those are the things I like. Have a lot of emotional ties to. The Atari was like like I have some attachment to, but not as deep. So I wasn't expecting much when I went into this. But what Atari 50 is basically, you walk through the timeline of the company, and this timeline is interactive. That includes all kinds of material, whether it's text, video, images, and the games. So, like, you could, as you browse through the history of the company, you can learn more about what happened and, like, the crazy times of the dawn of video games, basically. And you can play the games that they're talking about. Plus, like, the developers reimagined a lot of those games in, like, a modern gameplay format. So I found it to be super cool about like because it's important, like what it does in terms of like documenting our medium and
Hmm.
allowing people that haven't lived through that era to be able to see what was it like, back then, and make it more approachable for them to play it. And I'm playing this, and I go like, oh man, if they can make like one like these for like Neo Geo,
Right.
or Sega or Nintendo,
Hmm.
like all of that wealth of history uh, that is like now archived, available for people to try, and for people who haven't experienced it back then, they can like learn so much more about how the medium came together through this game, and that's why like I ranked it very high on my list, is just because of like it's important, and I really hope that they make more of this.
Hmm. Those are both really compelling arguments. I don't have as compelling arguments for my two, unfortunately. I'm not gonna do it justice, but I'll give it my best shot anyway. How about that?
Do
Okay,
it.
go.
Yeah. So the first that I have is Marvel Midnight Suns, and the reason that I think we should give it a chance is because I feel it had two reasons why people kind of overlooked it. One, it was not, in my opinion, not very visually appealing. Like, I don't like, not the best animations, not the best models, and two, it came out really really late, this like last year in 2022, so I think it didn't make a lot of people's lists. But the gameplay is really solid. It's they didn't just follow the old XCOM formula. They have this new card game as part of the strategy game, and it really has a lot to do with the location of the characters and where they are. Even if this wasn't Marvel themed, I would think it was really solid. And I feel that a lot of people overlooked it unfairly, and I really think it deserves a second look or a first look for most people.
Hmm.
I
The
haven't played that, and I really wanted to play it myself. I heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, the gameplay is solid. It's a lot of fun. There are a lot of things that are uneven. It has a lot of rough points. The visuals are one of them, but like otherwise, seriously solid. And you get used to it after a while. You just don't see that anymore. The second game I wanted to make an argument for is Cult of the Lamb. I
Mm.
feel it had so much charm and personality, and it handled the narrative so well, and like the thematics of it. And I really like the contrast between the cute and the evil. So it was a very lovable and
Very
different
charming.
game. Yeah, very
Yeah,
charming game,
yeah,
and it
Very
was
charming.
different in its approach.
yeah.
And I think it stand out for that reason, and it really also deserves a second look.
I like it a lot. I really enjoyed playing it. I
Hmm.
love how they did the theme. I think
Mhm.
like like there's a lot of these mechanics that we've seen before, but like the thematic twist on these mechanics, I think is very fresh. It's like a really fresh take on multiple genres mixed together in a very fun way.
I
And
agree.
yeah, it's very charming. It made me laugh a bunch of times.
Me too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're up, Rami.
Osama, I actually, before we move on to my list, you
Yeah.
mentioned a game that I would love to sort of poke at, like Dome Keeper.
Yes. So have you played it?
I did, and I loved
Yes.
it.
I
It's
loved it
very
too.
good.
I
It
loved it
it
too.
it didn't get my list because it was too punishing for me.
Yeah. I it didn't make it on my list as well because once you lost, or once, because it's a rogue like exploration game where you're digging around getting resources, and then there's a timer, a segment where you have to play a very simple tower defense type game. I loved that back and forth where you're
Yeah.
just relaxed and exploring, and then all of a sudden you're under attack and you have to like, what I loved also is because it was a roguelike, there wasn't a specific build order, because each playthrough you unlock different buildings, and so you had to adapt. You can't just look up a guide and be like, this is the optimal way to
Hmm.
play this game. There is no optimal way to play the game. You just have to kind of wing it with what you have, and I like that. I like the in the moment part. I felt it was light on content, and
Hmm.
the the more you get into it, the playthroughs got longer and longer, and losing and starting over in that roguelike
Yeah,
felt bad.
that's exactly it. It was too
Yeah,
punishing for me.
exactly. Like, other than that, it was amazing. I think if they added content and made the gameplay sessions shorter, they have a winning formula on their hand.
Yeah,
It's a great game. It made my top list, but it was lacking in that sense.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, no, that's pretty. I was curious about your I was curious about your reasoning because I feel the exact same, honestly.
Yeah,
Like the base of that game is so good,
so good. Yeah,
but it just the second time I died in a
yeah.
fairly good run, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think
I
I
s-
played 3 runs, and
yeah,
my third was really long. And once I lost, I was like, I don't want to go through that
right,
again,
yeah,
which is a shame because I didn't even
yeah,
see all the content yet. But
no. But
still,
it's not worth the effort,
yes, it didn't
which is
change enough for me to go through it
yeah,
all over again.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, yeah. So my two games really are. I want to make a very strong argument for the case of Golden Idol. So I need you two to just look up this game real quick.
I went there and bought it on Steam already.
yeah, me too.
Look at the screenshots.
Yeah.
This game is not pretty.
No.
Okay, it's not. It's not ugly, but it has a very um I can't say it's intentional. It has a very effective art style for what it's trying to be.
Particular.
It's particular. It's a little uneasy. It's a little like it doesn't exactly feel right, right? Um, in the game, you play a detective and you're trying to solve a number of cases. Um, and you're trying to do that in a way that might be reminiscent of something like The Return of Obra Dinn.
Hmm.
And I love The Return of Obra Dinn.
Yeah, one of
I
my
thought it
favorite
was
games ever.
Yeah,
So here's the
one of
thing.
my favorite. Absolutely.
I would argue that this game does what Obra Dinn does better than Obra Dinn does it.
What?
Yeah.
Impressive.
Okay, this is
I
going
I
at the
was
top of my list now.
I was shocked, right? Um, and even Lucas Pope, who made Obra Dinn,
Mhm.
Hmm.
basically said that this is just super good, like great mysteries. I think is what he said. It
Mm.
has incredibly good writing. It has really clever puzzles that force you to approach them in really smart ways. Every place you go to, every scene you're in, has attention and love and care and ways of helping you solve the thing, and everything comes together in such a wonderful way. And just like Obra Dinn, there's scenes where you're like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to brute force the last two parts of this. Um, but it really feels like it could be done. Um, and the combination of sort of like solving the murders with this incredible storytelling and like even like a little bit of like it can be a pretty funny game at times.
Mm.
I was genuinely shocked.
This is super exciting. I can't wait to try it.
Yeah. So the Caves of the Golden Idol like just came out of nowhere for me. Got it recommended by a friend and just played it and I was shocked. Um that's number one. Number two for me is Dwarf Fortress.
Mm.
And I'm guessing if you two had played it, it might have made it to your list, but it came out like in the last 2 weeks of
Mhm.
the year.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Dwarf Fortress is the kind of game that merits a lifetime achievement.
Mhm.
Right? This is not a game that gets Game of the Year. This is not a game that gets like Best Habibis Game of the Year.
Mhm.
This is a game that gets a lifetime achievement award
Mhm.
because
Wow.
there's nothing like Dwarf Fortress, and nothing like Dwarf Fortress will ever exist.
Mhm.
Two people worked for 15 years on the most niche of games that could possibly exist,
Mhm.
and they work on it forever. And they make something that is so singular that I don't even think anybody can start to imagine a game like Dwarf Fortress.
Hmm.
It can't be done. There's nothing like Dwarf Fortress, and I
It's hard
don't
to
think
explain it to someone with
it.
just words. It really
That's
is.
it. It's everything that when the first people that made video games, when they were looking at how do we take being a dungeon master into video games, how do we take that sort of like Dungeons and Dragons vibe into video games, right? Where you have your DM and your storytelling. Dwarf Fortress is the game that does that. It is the game that makes storytelling part of the game in a way that couldn't exist before, can't exist before. And it does it by simulating so many things that in the end it makes stories. This is the thing that Warren Spector was dreaming of, right? Storytelling that just happens from systems. This is the thing that when video games were in their immersive sim phase back in the early 2000s, this is what they were thinking of. And they did it. They just did it. They didn't just do it, they did it well. I mean, they also proved that you need like 15 years to do it, but they did it, which to
It was
me,
on early access for a while, right?
I mean, it's like 15 years at this point, I think. Um, there is nothing like Dwarf Fortress, and it is such a profound game in so many ways. It's still not the most accessible thing, even with the graphic user interface. But there's games you can tell stories about, but there's no game that tells you stories that you can tell stories about.
Mm.
And I think that's just incredibly unique. And I just really love Dwarf Fortress for being what it is, because it's the for me it's the dream, right? A small group of people just very fall in love with this preposterous idea and then just execute on it.
Mm.
Um, I think it's every game developer's dream to have their dream game and just work on it for like 15 years straight until it's good. It's a terrible idea. Please don't do that. But God, is it nice to see somebody succeed at it.
Yeah, it's super rare.
So yeah, those are my two.
Wow, those are some very compelling arguments. How are we
Yeah.
gonna decide?
Holy
Just to be
crap.
clear, because it's one person, we're fighting between these 6 games for number 10, right?
Maybe, or maybe we decide that one of the other games should not make it, and I think that should be our next step.
Okay, so let's
I
look at
actually
that.
think that will be way more interesting as we say, okay, we have 9 games in the list now.
Yeah.
Again, to remind people, because it's been a while, that's Elden Ring, God of War, Marvel Snap, Vampire Survivors, Return to Monkey Island, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Stacklands, Metal Hellsinger, and Neon White,
In no particular order.
in
Yes.
no particular order. And we're going to have to figure out if there are games that we think should not make it for any of the games that have been mentioned before.
Okay, so let's start with that. Any objections to any of these games?
It's hard to object because they're so good.
Yeah. The
All right.
only one on it
I'll
that I
take
haven't
a
played.
first step. Sorry,
Yeah.
you were gonna say something.
I was going to say the only one I haven't played is Return to Monkey Island, but I have no objections to it being on the list.
I will take a stab at Stacklands.
Okay, that's going to be a tough one, but let's
Yeah.
go.
I enjoyed Stacklands a lot. I think the mechanic is super strong. And it was going to be on my list. But then the thing that made me remove it is that it did not have longevity. I feel like, once I figured it out, like the novelty, like it did not have the replayability that a lot of those games that we were speaking about, or like that long lasting impact that a lot of those other games had.
I
It's
can't
a
deny
really
that too
cool
much.
mechanic. I really like the presentation, but yeah, it didn't have the longevity that I expected.
I played
Okay.
it for around 15 hours, which is a satisfying amount of time. So you're right. Like usually card games, like I probably have 200 hours on Marvel Snap at this point. I don't know,
Yeah,
something ridiculous. But
Right.
like card games usually are played for longer. I don't think this one needed to. To be honest, I was done with it because I was done with it, not because of
Right.
anything else. Like I was like, okay, I'm moving on now. There was still a lot more to explore, but like
I was happy. It was a $3 game, right? Like
something like that.
it was a very small game, and for something that was that small, the fact that I got like what is it? Like probably also 15 hours, maybe even more. Um out of that simple of a mechanic. And then when you know how many cards are in the game, there's really not that many cards either.
yeah. There's not that many.
They got so much play out of very few resources.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I have to admit, like I think that's super impressive. I would agree it doesn't have
very.
longevity. It's not Civ. It's not any of those games,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
for what it was, I think it was remarkable.
Oh, it's a remarkable game without a doubt.
Right. But
But
you're not sure it should make it into the. Oh,
I'm
Sam, how
okay.
do you
like
feel?
if
I'm
like I
okay with
played that and I played Norco. If I compare them,
yeah.
Okay.
if I compare it to Dwarf Fortress as you're describing it,
Right.
if I compare it to Obra Dinn, and
Right.
this is you're saying is better,
All right. Yeah.
it's
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, I can't argue against any of that.
Right.
That's true.
I'm going to argue against one that I had myself, and Fauzi, I'm going to need you to defend it.
which
I'm
one?
doubting Return to Monkey Island.
Oof. Does it do anything new? No, it doesn't. Really.
It doesn't.
But what it does that I think it makes it really remarkable is that it is so hard to make a point and click adventure game that is relevant, in this modern age, let alone for like a very old franchise, and
Right.
to make it as good as you remember it to be.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the question that I'm stuck with is, would I would this work if it wasn't Monkey Island? Would I have played this game and loved it as much?
If the same people wrote it, probably.
It's hard to say for me because I think
Yeah,
a large part of it for me was the return to Monkey Island and being back with
yeah,
those characters. And I think
it's true.
I might be a little bit more forgiving because it brings me back to my childhood when all games were like that, right?
Yeah,
I thought it was a really good iteration. I think the ending was a little strange, but um, but I'm just kind of like I'm looking at again. I'm looking at I'm looking at Norco for myself. I'm looking at the Case of the Golden Idol and Dwarf
yeah,
Fortress, which both were higher on my list.
yeah.
And
For me, if I had to move like one adventure game from my list to move forward, it will be Norco.
right,
Like, yeah,
Mhm.
all right. Well, let's say Stacklands and Return to Monkey Island both go to the danger zone for now.
I would like to propose another game to go into the danger
Okay.
zone. Uh, Neon White.
oof,
Though I think mechanically it was solid. I really didn't like it aesthetically, and I actually thought that like I
Hmm.
couldn't keep playing because of the story of and how annoyed I was with the protagonist, the voice acting, the writing, all of that. And I
I could
feel
skip the entire story, and that's how I'd be like
Yeah,
really,
that's
yeah,
what I did too.
really
I had the
enjoyed it.
exact I had the exact same thing. I literally did not like anything about the story or the world
yeah.
or the characters, but the gameplay was so good.
I
Yes, I couldn't
cannot
stop.
deny that. I cannot deny that. But if we have other games on the list, I'm not saying cut it completely. I'm saying putting it in the danger zone, so that a game like that I have not played, but that is better than Return of Obra Dinn can make it on the list. I would feel better about that. But that's
Yeah.
just me.
I would rather like for the novelty of it, for Neon White to stay and cut something like the Turtles.
Oh, but the Turtles is a masterclass in how to take an old nostalgic game, keep the nostalgia, and actually make it good for today's day. That is
Right.
a
And
feat.
I think in that regard, I played it. It does a better job of doing that than Return to Monkey Island did.
That's fair.
So, we could argue that Metal Health Singer is really, really good, but is it that good?
It's lower on my list. It's number 12 for me. So,
Mm.
It's not even on mine, but yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah,
I
like it,
would I would keep Neon White. I would keep Neon White. I would keep Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If I had to pick one of those three, because the other four we have on that list, right, is Elden Ring, God of War, Marvel Snap, Vampire Survivors. There's no argument for me on those.
yeah.
yeah,
Those are staying.
yeah,
There's literally no way I can remove those.
Yeah.
yeah,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and Neon White. If I had to pick one out of three, and Metal Health Singer is the third one, I would pick Metal Health Singer to go to the danger zone.
Okay.
I would do the same.
Okay.
Right?
No
Okay.
objections.
All
Yeah,
right. Cool. So that gives us a list of Elden Ring, God of War, Marvel Snap, Vampire Survivors, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Neon White. And then in the danger zone, we have Stacklands, Return to Monkey Island, and Metal Health Singer.
yeah.
That means we have 6 games
6 games
on the
on the list.
list.
We have room for 4.
We have room for 4, and we have 3 in the danger zone.
Yeah,
So let's see what makes it over then.
I
I
would
mean,
move. Should we like each move one? But it
okay,
doesn't have to be ours.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is we're all looking at the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of us are looking at the spreadsheet, and we're all going to pick one, and we're going to copy. We're going to copy the name over. I think.
Yeah, like from
Or,
the way you describe both games, like Case of Golden Idol and Dwarf Fortress, I feel like should make it.
I mean, I think so too. I really
Yeah,
think so.
and I really think that Norco should make it.
Yeah. I would vote for those 3 as well.
Okay. Well, then that's not very exciting. We just all agree.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's okay. That's okay. I like that. We also have like people's listening time that we have to keep in mind, and our own availability. We're running out of time. So.
We are running out of time. We got to wrap it up.
Right. So
Now
let's see. Now comes the real work.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's the list without the games in the danger list? So the danger list is our runner-ups. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, do we all agree? I think the question is, do we all agree that the games that are in the danger list, Stacklands, Return to Monkey Island, and Metal Hellsinger, shouldn't beat Dwarf Fortress, The Case of Golden Idol, and Norco? I think we do, right?
Yeah.
They shouldn't be. Sorry, I didn't.
Beat.
Oh, beat. Yeah, I agree.
All right. So one of those three in the danger zone is going to make it onto our list.
Okay. So we have to vote for number 10 based from those three.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So I cannot vote on Return to Monkey Island since I have not played it. But between Stacklands and Metal Hellsinger, for me, Stacklands is higher.
For me, it'd be Stacklands too. I played all three.
For me too, Stacklands.
Okay, so we have a number 10.
Beautiful. We have a number 10. Now we just have to make an order work.
Yes.
All right.
Okay,
So
how do we want to do this?
So Elden Ring was number 1 for both of us. So that
Yes.
locks it at top 3 in my opinion.
I agreed. Same with same with Marvel Snap. It was
Same
number
with
2,
Marvel
number 2,
Snap.
and number 3. So it's top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
So God of War was a little bit more all over the place. It was 2nd, 4th, and 8th. But looking at all the other ones and seeing as it's the only one that's on all 3 of our lists, I think that locks it in the top 3 as well.
I can. Not for me, but
yeah, because it's lower on your list than anyone else's, which is fair. It makes sense.
Right. I really liked Ragnarok. I really did, but I have to admit at the same time, I never could shake the feeling that I had played this game but better. In the first one, like, yes, it does incredible stuff, right? And incredible storytelling, great combat. Really like how they expanded the combat to include so many more characters and playstyles. Ultimately, though, I can't, if I have to think of like God of War, I'm still going to be thinking of God of War 2018.
I felt that it improved on the first one.
It did absolutely, right? Like it's there's improvements, but it just didn't have this, like, sometimes a game is better in every way, but it's just not better.
To me, it really felt like a continuation of the first game. Like, it's really hard to separate the two. The first is incomplete without the second, and the second is incomplete without the first.
So that's the thing. I think the second is incomplete without the first. I don't think the first is incomplete without the second. I felt the second was a wonderful story. The first was a wonderful story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And if they stopped there, it would have been fine. It would have worked for me. That's a beautiful story of like a father connecting with his child.
But he didn't connect yet. Like, the growth was resolved in the second. I knew, without spoiling, because I don't want to spoil it.
Of course.
Like, Kratos becomes who he's meant to become in the second, and not in the first. In the first, it left a lot of things unresolved.
Well, but it left it at a place where you could see that there could be resolution.
True.
And I think that's beautiful. You don't have to tell me how the resolution happens. Like the greatest story of our lives don't end at everything's okay now. They end at, look at it. There's a potential, right? They're now. It was God of War 2018 was a story about two people who were not in any place to deal with their grief and to deal with their hurt and to deal with their history, to deal with their fears, and it ended in a place where both of them could start to heal. And for 2, I just kind of feel like it was just more. It didn't really. It was good. It was a good game, but for me, it's not a top 3 game.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, we could see if there's something that would take its place.
Right.
To me, like, it was just barely shy of my top 3, so like I would easily be able to see it as top 3 for that reason.
All right. So let's figure out the first part. Let's start at the bottom. I think we should all agree that Stacklands is number 10 then.
Yes, agreed.
because it kind of came from the Danger Zone list.
Yes.
Then we have number 9. Could I make an argument for either Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Neon White?
Yeah,
I'd
I
put
think
Neon White lower than Ninja Turtles because of that.
okay.
You know what? I actually have no real objections there.
Yeah,
I think I like Neon White because it was a little newer, but like you said, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a masterclass.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's rate masterclass above like good and new in this case. Okay, cool.
Norco,
You want to put Norco there?
I'd put it higher.
7?
put it higher. Yeah, but
So
like
here's a
looking
strange
at the
one.
rest.
Osama, like I want to throw a curveball.
Yeah.
Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
It's number
7.
3 on both of your lists.
I know, but also it's number 3 on both of our lists.
And not on yours
But,
at all.
but we've heard arguments for games that deserve to be higher than it.
Mm.
And if I look at what we have left, I think Norco should be above it, and everything else deserves to be above it too. It was a good game. It was really, it was a big hook that I didn't expect, but also
Yeah,
I can't really argue that it's better than Golden Idol or Norco or
Yeah, I
any of those.
I don't disagree with that. That's a solid
Yeah.
argument. Vampire Survivor 7.
Okay, 7 Vampire Survivors. 6 then. We've hit the hard part now. I guess that has to be Norco.
I'm okay with that.
If Fauzi mentioned it already,
Yeah.
then yeah. What an incredible game, though.
Yeah.
My God.
I can't wait to play it. It's been on my list. Why don't I have more time to play games? I only played 54 this year, and it wasn't
it's
enough.
just, if
other
only you
games.
had more time. If only you had more time. Okay. Now it's going to get harder.
I feel like for me, it would be very difficult for Marvel Snap and Elden Ring to not be at the first 2 spots.
Agreed. They kind of have to be.
For me, Dwarf Fortress makes it complicated. But I agree that they're top 3. For me, it's the top 3 is going to be Dwarf Fortress, Elden Ring, Marvel Snap.
I don't see Dwarf Fortress being in the top 3 personally as well. Like I think, I mean, it could be, but like it does not go higher than Elden Ring and Marvel Snap. Both of those are masterpieces. Both of those.
Dwarf Fortress is a masterpiece. I think it's a defining game of our industry.
I don't think it. I haven't played it, but I don't know if it will be spoken about in the same way that Marvel Snap or Elden Ring will.
I agree. It is spoken of far higher than that. Like this is the thing about Dwarf Fortress. This is a game of 15 years, right? It's a legend. Dwarf Fortress is a myth.
But in many ways, Elden Ring is the result of From Software honing their craft over more than 15 years.
Also, this is the top 10 games of this year. It's not like we can't really take into account. I mean, we can take it into account, but it's not it being reigning supreme as an original game for the last 15 years is just one aspect to consider. You know what I mean?
I do, but I also think that Dwarf Fortress in the end it's the promise of video games as the promise was posed at the start of video games. When this medium like really started to grow, Dwarf Fortress was what people dreamed of. It was just never possible. And here it is. And to me that's remarkable, right? And for me that makes it, like I said, this is a lifetime achievement game. It's the kind of game that I really wish you could play it real quick in the next like 4 minutes. But I don't think that's going to work. So how about this? Let's figure out 5 and 4 first.
So it sounds like this is like the spots for God of War and the case of the Golden Idol.
If Osama does not object, because he said he doesn't see Dwarf Fortress in the top 3 at all.
Yeah, I have a very hard argument, like a very hard time seeing Dwarf Fortress higher than God of War as a game of this year. And God of War only was 4th on my list, but even then, If you both agree that it should be in the top 3, I will absolutely cede that spot. But like that's still
No,
my opinion.
I agree with you, Osama. Like God of War was number 2 on mine.
Yeah. Yeah, God of War to me like deserves to be in the top 3 of this year. It was still a best in class in a lot of different things. Not
Yeah.
everything. It didn't do everything right. It did a lot of things wrong, in my opinion. But the things it did well, it did so well, so well that it's actually going to influence a lot of games going forward.
Yeah.
AAA cinematic combat games specifically, but still, that's
Yeah.
a big chunk of the games that are being developed.
For AAA, there's so much inspiring about that game.
Yeah,
About like
Yeah.
God of War and Elden Ring. Like,
yeah,
there's genuinely lots of times, as I'm playing Elden Ring, I'm thinking, how did they do this?
yes,
Right.
yes. Like,
Like
where
I
was the
the
seam here? It was
yeah.
seamless. How did they pull that off?
How did they
Yeah,
pull that off? How did they make all these enemies so interesting? How did they
yeah,
make all these enemies, period?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
how many did they have thousands of people? No, it's from
No,
software. They don't have thousands
I
of
like
people.
that you're both talking about two separate games, by the
but
way.
they
Osam,
both pushed in different
They
directions.
that's the
both pushed
thing.
in
But they
different
both
directions.
pushed in those
Right.
directions.
So here's the
Yeah.
thing. I don't think God of War. I don't think God of War is a top 3 game for me. It just isn't. It was good. It was really good. Like I really liked it. But like I look at these other titles, Elden Ring definitely is top 2. We can argue Marvel Snap Elden Ring for me, but like I think Elden Ring should win it. But God of War over Dwarf Fortress for me, that just doesn't work for me.
I
Okay,
can
because
concede to that if we get Elden Ring and Marvel Snap at 1 and 2.
yeah, I'll agree.
Okay. All right. So let's figure out 5 then. The Case of Golden Idol?
Go for it.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to play that game. If it's
Oh,
anything
Yeah.
like
you're
Obra Dinn,
We're
oh
yeah,
my
gonna
you're
have
god,
gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
I
we're
am
gonna have
excited.
dinner after this, then I'm gonna play it. That's my plan for tonight.
Number 4. I would argue for God of War.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
I will see.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The number 3, Dwarf
Dwarf
Fortress.
Fortress. Number 2,
Still hurts
Marvel
a little,
Snap.
but I'll leave it. I'll leave it. And then
Number
number
1,
1.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
There you go. That is a good list.
Let's see. Let's all read
Oof.
it one time, just
What a
quietly, and
list.
see if we're happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, looks
Okay.
good.
Well,
Let's read it for the audience.
let's read it for the audience. Do we just take turns? Fauzi, Osama, Rami?
Sure, from
Yeah.
the bottom up.
Yep. Fauzi.
At number 10, Stacklands.
At number 9, Neon White.
Number 8, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge.
Number 7, Vampire Survivors.
At number 6, Norco.
Number 5, The Case of the Golden Idol.
Number 4, God of War Ragnarok.
Number 3, Dwarf Fortress.
Number 2, Marvel Snap.
And the Habibis Game of the Year, Elden Ring.
I think very well deserved.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Very well deserved.
Just in time. We
What a
wrapping
year
up at
for
the 1
video
hour.
games.
Oh my god.
What a year
we
for video
played
games.
so many games and so many different games than each other.
Right? Right?
And
It's
all of them good.
incredible. Yes.
What a year. Truly, what a year. I think we're going to wrap it up because we have stuff to do.
Absolutely. I got to get back to work.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning back in to the Habibis. We're glad to be back. Hope that all of you have a very exciting 2023. For now, if you have any objections to this list and specifically to Osama's entries, please email us at info@thehabibis.com. For now, Happy New Year and salam.
Salam.
That was the Habibis podcast for this week. I was Rami Ismail, your host for this episode. You can find me on Twitter at @THA_Rami. My fellow Habibis were Osama Dorias, who you can find on Twitter at Osama Dorias, and Fauzi Mesmar, who you can find on Twitter at Fauzi Mesmar. Send us your questions, stories, and suggestions via info@thehabibis.com. The intro and outro music was provided by Malik Zubaila, and the logo was provided by Ibrahim Hamdi. The Habibis is a weekly podcast about 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea, with new episodes launching every Friday, inshallah. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcasting service or check out thehabibis.com for more information. Thank you for listening, and salam.